Guess what time it is?
Here we are.
It's fucking podcast time, baby.
Check it out. It's Tuesday.
Fun.
It's
man.
Tuesday.
Dude, we made it.
It's a good time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
Yeah.
back.
It's called finesse.
Episode 43. This is the Producer Lounge. This is our show. It's a show about music production. And we like to screw around and chit-chat about all the things that we're not learning but trying, you know?
Us screw around? Never.
Yep, all the time. This week, we have a very, very special guest. It is the return of Northeast Heights.
Woo! Let's go. Let's go. Let's
He's
go.
back. His Instagram got hacked, and he had to make a new one. Go follow him
Did he
at
really?
Any Heights Music. There you go. Go
He
give
had
him a
like
follow.
7 million followers, so go
Yeah.
hit him up, people.
Yeah, he got hacked hardcore. It was a bummer.
Yeah.
He was really upset about it, actually.
Yeah. We had to console him
We did.
on a couple different
Like,
occasions.
I
but-
drove to his house and kept him from fighting with his roommate. It was bad.
Who ended up deleting it?
Yeah. What was that about?
Who ended up hacking it?
Yeah, he was the one. Which is so fucked up. Like, we didn't find about that till after, and then there was another fight. Yeah. But Instagram's free. Accounts are free. You know?
Yeah.
Classic best friend bit right there.
So here we are. You know? We're back
Happens all the time.
for another adventure.
Victor has a track coming out right now.
Oh, do you
It's
really?
true. What's
Yeah,
what's
literally.
happening literally right now? What's happening?
Literally right now.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I got a tune coming out. It's actually the opening song on the new Cypher mix, which will be released on SoundCloud for Ill Gates' Producer Dojo label. I am very proudly a member of.
Big
Shout out.
sheesh.
Yeah, that's
Did you press
wild.
a button and it didn't work?
No,
I
just
did.
quick.
It went, "Shh."
Okay. Okay.
Reverse hack.
But yeah, that should be coming out right now. So just look up Producer Dojo on SoundCloud if you're listening, and it should be coming out here
Hell yeah.
literally any minute.
Well, when this
Fucking
episode
cool.
airs on YouTube and podcast places, guess what? It's already out. Go listen to it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I guess live right now. It's also already out. It's probably playing at this moment.
dude, it's the first song, man. I got the
That's
opening
right.
track.
Big ups to that.
Goddamn right.
Big fucking
That's how we
ups,
do.
dude.
Yeah, always 400.
Cheers.
As always.
Cheers. It's good to be back, fellas. I missed y'all.
400.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always good to have you on.
What have you guys
Look at
been
you
up
representing.
to? What y'all been up to?
Oh, jacking it.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
so many tracks coming out on so many labels. It's
We're so busy.
Yeah.
hard.
I've been working with Hans Zimmer, which I heard you were invited to work with as well. That's great news. I'm glad to have you
so
on
many
board.
inside jokes going on in here. Sorry, guys.
Yep. yeah. Out of the loop.
But not really. But
Yeah,
you know,
some.
it's for our enjoyment.
No, yeah, we're just hanging. Had a couple, I guess not realizations, but reminders. You know, in the last week. And
Those are always good.
that's been nice. Yeah.
Regarding what?
Just like small philosophies, I guess, when it comes to like music making and art. I guess in general.
Like sub drops are number one. Use a sub drop in every
At
song.
least in the top 5. Yeah.
What's a sub drop?
So it's like
What's a
the
sub
sign where you're
drop?
pitching down. Yeah.
a sub drop? I'm Victor. You know what a sub drop is, bro? Come on.
Well, I do now. I didn't know like that. I thought it was like a within drop or something. I call it a sub down, honestly.
Oh, sub down. Sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's just what I call it. I know what it is. I didn't know that it was sub drop. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I get
Okay.
it.
I don't
Sub
even know
down.
if that's like the technical name. That's just
I
what
like
we
sub
call
down
it.
though.
Sub down. Yeah.
That's just like when I name the samples when I make them. You know, like if I make one, I just have one in every key. I use that
Yeah.
shit all fucking time.
I know they're sick. They're fucking
I
sick.
told you he knew what a sub
Yeah.
drop was.
Yeah.
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 Shout out sub drops.
Yeah.
Or sub downs.
Do you do sub drops?
You better do sub drops. We're gonna find you.
Sub
better.
downs?
Sub downs.
Sub downs. What about sub ups? I also use sub,
Sub
ups.
ups.
I use
Maybe a
sub ups.
sub left if you're feeling weird.
Yeah.
You want to break the rules a little bit.
I've used a sub up
Sub ups are good.
maybe once or twice.
Have you guys ever played with like going down and then back up a little and then back down again?
No.
Create like a
On the
little
miss,
double?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No.
so
all the
good.
time.
So good.
I have done
Just go down and then go back up,
yeah.
go back down.
I've definitely done
Same
like
lip movement. Same lip movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done an out, a sub drop, and then I chop that, reverse it, and use it on the way back in.
Oh yeah.
Plenty of times.
Those are great.
Tailored to taste, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it where the sub drops, and then once it gets to the frequency of the sub note, I just blend them. So it's just like, and it just like, and it just now is it's now a new bass technically, but I just match the frequencies and I just nerd it, nerd it into submission. Like, no, and now it's a constant wave.
That is some nerd. Yeah, that is some nerd shit.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
yeah.
even care if it's in tune. Like if it's just going down. Like,
Well, yeah,
I mean,
this is just to like it sub drops and then it catches the note of the main key, basically, and then it's usually like a rhythmic bass.
Yeah, it's a pretty natural thing to go like -12, -24, -36 whenever you're doing a drop thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me. If I'm doing a sub, I'm just automatically dragging the automation down to 12 or 24 or whatever.
Right.
I go to a note. I don't know.
You know, I think this might be like a problem, and I'm not saying this is like good. I care less and less about the key of things, like as I go. I feel like,
I get that.
As long as it's going down, I don't give a fuck. Like
I know, right?
I don't care where it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using your ears for the sake of the melody things, you can just get away with whatever you want.
So this is the thing. I'd be interested to test this because, like I have tuned drums before, like definitely with layers, especially on snares. I care a bit more about like tonality on like that thunk or something like that. But I'm real interested because I don't tune my drums anymore. Do y'all?
Not really.
You see, like I don't really tune my drums.
No.
But I would be interested because
I like refuse.
Yeah, me too.
yeah, like I don't fucking tune my drums. And but the thing is, that would be interesting. It would be interesting to pull them in because like I feel like one of the hardest things to learn as you make music, and like one of the things that's like took me the longest is listening for tone, where it's just like how much of the shit that you're naturally picking in terms of your sample selection, where things like are sitting on like the EQ and all that stuff, what you naturally choose, ends up just being in tune just because you've been doing it for so long.
Right.
Because like
Right.
I'm not saying that
Yep.
there's not value in it. I just wonder like how much of it is just like you probably can just like feel it at a certain
Ears.
point, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. I was going to say I don't tune it, but I do tune it. Like, I'm not pulling a tuner up
I'm going
and
like,
then
is it F sharp?
making sure it's the right note. I'm just listening to the song and going like, pitch it up or down based on how it feels, or choose a different kick or whatever the fuck
Right.
to find one that actually does feel right. And I think that is tuning it technically.
Because I've thought about that like a bunch, and that was one of the things that took me the longest time. And then, and not even that like I don't think anybody becomes a master at it, and like definitely not saying that I am, but it's just like, dude, just like picking for like good tonality
Yeah.
of the shit that you choose to use in a song,
Yeah.
you know? So like I wonder how much of that, especially in percussion, because I don't pull up a tuner at all anymore, how much of that would just like align with being like in tune just from doing it a million fucking times, you
Right.
know?
Right. Rather than tuning your drums, you're just picking the drums that are in tune.
So I think
know?
I actually even more like in tune these days. Like, dude, it's like all about like tone. Like,
Well,
dude, I
no,
like
that's what I'm saying. I'm just turning it into like a funny metaphor, as opposed to like bringing in drums and then manipulating them to work. You're just inherently choosing the right drums that already work.
Right. Pick the right sample from the start.
Right, which you don't get out of the gate. Like you have to work for like 4 years straight before you start just inherently choosing the right sounds. Like
Yeah.
you go through and you're like, oh, I remember when I used to use that kick. It's trash.
Yeah, right.
And then you're just like, you just keep grabbing the right sounds. Like you just keep creating the palettes that work better together,
yeah.
which just kind of comes with experience, and you can't really like you just have to be honest the whole way there, and then eventually your brain just starts taking care of it, which is pretty nice. But yeah, that's so key. Like tuning drums is out the door once you just know what to listen for.
Yeah. And I do like love like a good like undertoned
Sure.
like a snare, like a tuned snare if it like calls for it or something like that. But like kicks, I don't really care too much. But I am interested, and like I would be interested in knowing just like how many, where it's just like, cause you know when you pick a bad sample and you're just like, ooh, that's not the
No,
one.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then
it's
like
so
you-
obvious.
And
now.
it's just like, I wonder how much of it like just is in tune just by like listening. To
Right. Back in the day, you'd throw something in and it'd be weird, and you're like, oh, that's kind of fun. Not really like, you're just kind of fucking around. Where later on, you're like, I don't have time to fuck around. I want to make a beat. Like, and so you start just choosing better sounds that already work with what's happening. Like, it seems like you only have so much time in the creative process where you're just throwing random shit at the wall. There's like a certain point where it
Right.
switches to like, no, now this is the palette.
Now
we have
we're
to work
producing this.
with it. Right, right. Now
There's
we're
actually
taking
like an idea here. Let's try and not completely destroy it. and
right,
deform it.
exactly. Now you kind of have to focus a little bit and make sure you're doing
Right.
all the checks and balances you need to make the track a thing, because you've made enough not tracks that now you're like, no, I want to make the track, so I'm gonna I know what I have to do, that just takes time, you know.
Yeah. Also, welcome 432 Hertz guitarist, first time chatter.
Hey,
Joining the
That's-
party.
It's the best Hertz.
we should probably catch up in chat here.
We should not read all of this.
Um,
What I was gonna say is, so, Aka, I don't know how you say your name. Aksa,
Aquat,
Aka,
Aquat,
Aquat.
Acuat.
Is talking about doing a fun thing with
Don't be sorry.
Don't be sorry.
notes, where he's like including specific notes. It's like it's a
12 tone.
12-tone serialism where you don't repeat notes until everything else has been played. So, and he's tried doing it. It says some people like it a lot, some people don't. What I was gonna say is, fuck yeah, I have friends that do some of the fucking nerdiest shit
Yeah.
in this very specific kind of way, where they just go, I want to make something that has these specific parameters, and that's like a fun thing for them to do. And by all means, do that thing.
Right.
Like you can't go wrong with being like interested in making something interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's a good thing to do.
At the
Yeah,
end of the
totally,
day, it's
right.
a quality exercise.
Yes.
I'm a fan of frameworks. So like you can get as
Yeah.
nerdy as you want with a framework, but like I love a framework for the sense that it gives you like a fucking frame, you know, where it's just like, all right, we're living within
Parameters.
Yeah, exactly. So like I use frameworks, definitely not in 12 tone or like, ooh, I'm only going to generate everything with sine waves, or like I'm only going to use like this type of stuff. But like I'm a big fan of like framework, and like one of the things that I find is like with panning specifically, where it's just like, this is like one of my favorite ones, where it's like I'm not going to go outside of like a plus 110% spread on anything. And it's just like, I love frameworks just because they give you like a frame of reference, and like I'm a big fan of that. So I've never
Yeah.
heard of the 12 tone, but like anything you can do to give yourself a framework, like I think that's great, honestly.
Yeah.
No, dude, chat away in the chat. He says sorry.
No, you're good, man.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Chat away in the chat. We just won't read every single thing, you know. But I liked all the little bits in there. That was good.
Yeah. And if you found something you're pumped on, that is like a cool idea, fucking go at it, dude.
Send it to us. I need them.
Send it. Yeah.
I need all the cool ideas I can fucking get.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
432's guitarist. Odd that you make your own drums being a guitarist. JK. Hey. What do you mean make your own drums? Like
He
you
probably just means
drag in samples, you record your own drum set?
Synthesize 'em.
synthesizing.
Either way.
or whatever.
Yeah, programming. Either way, I'm behind it 100%.
Yeah.
I am a
You guys are drum snobs.
yes.
You guys are drum snobs.
And
Goddamn
I,
right.
Austin and I hold it down for the non.
I
I mean, I would say I'm a non. But
Austin's a
not
bit of a
as
snob.
intense.
He's on his way.
I will
At the
torture.
very least.
I will torture
Fuck outta
myself
here.
for hours, dude. I love it.
I do enjoy it, but like, no, I don't feel a need to like program my own. Like, I I don't feel it. I think it's important to learn how to make everything, but like, no, I don't give a fuck about making a hi-hat.
I kind of agree with that. Making hi-hats, I don't really care. Making kicks are hard for whatever reason.
But a good like tuned layer of a kick, like dude, you don't need like one layer. Like I love good layers. Like that's the layer that I love. Like I love making a good tuned snare thump. You know,
Sure.
yeah,
Right.
Sure.
that thump
Yeah.
right in between that like 100 to like 200 range, like that, just that tone, like
That node.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that, but like, yeah, hi-hats. Honestly, I really love recording, man. Like, I love a good recorded sample.
Me too.
Like a good
100%.
vintage one. And I
Yeah.
don't think you'll ever get there with hi-hats or a lot of drums too, like where you need that spice. Like, there's something that can't be replaced. Like, make your shit, but it's just like, I'm a fan of something that was recorded really well with a good microphone in a good room.
Or terribly.
Sure.
Sometimes terribly.
Or both, right? Like I
Right,
am a fan
right.
of high
Flavors.
fidelity.
Depends on what you're making.
I love high fidelity, but like low fidelity, they both have their things.
Right,
but like
right.
Yeah.
I can appreciate both, but I'm a fan of like a good audio recording.
I
like,
will
as
say
well.
I use sampled drums. Everything but the kick drum. The kick drum gets made from scratch every single time
Ooh.
because I will not compromise.
I never make my own kicks.
That's how I feel
But-
with snares. I'll make my snares every time.
No,
just because I fucking love making snares.
Yeah, see?
Or it's not
I
really
l-
like
there you go.
making them.
I
It's
love
doing like
making kick.
Franken snares.
I love making kicks. So
Right.
I'm the Franken sort. I do the
Yeah.
Franken sort with everything.
Yeah. It's
Just
so much fun that way.
Layering different samples and finding something that sounds like a snare or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's fun with snares too
Or
because
kicks.
there's so much more like tonality you can get out of it. You know.
yeah.
Because it's that mid-range and the high end. Whereas like kicks, it's kind of like pretty standard all around the board, you know? Like there are like cleaner EDM kicks and then there's like hip hop kicks and stuff, but like for the most part it's just like sub and you have like kind of a little bit at the top that's kind of a thing, you know?
I don't know what kicks you're making.
Get the fuck
Just
out of
kidding,
here.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Kicks have so much character, dude. Kicks are a beautiful child that you must raise.
I like a sampled kick. Like I might have like a super clean layer on a kick that I use, and maybe I did pick that layer, but I will get some other kind of layer. Usually it's another kick where I do a bunch of high passing and layer it up to give it the width and the like mid to high range like room kind of vibe to it. There'll be something in the middle and there's going to be something around it.
Right.
Just lots of kick.
Yeah, you see, exactly.
I like a heavy kick.
They all go there. I feel like all my drums always get. It's a bummer too because I don't have the best time. I have a good time making a good like swing, but I don't have the best time like synthesizing drums. But every track I ever make is always like 5 layers deep on like a kick and like 5 layers deep on a snare, and it's an intermix between samples and then usually like operator for like tonality for sure.
Right.
Sure.
Which is a bummer. I wish I just had like a sample library where it's just all right. That's the one, but you know how that goes.
Yeah, I'm a stone cold kick too.
But you
kinda
see,
guy.
let's say this, but like making a kick, it's like you're making a kick like you have your layers, right? Like you have your sample layers, you have
No,
your
for
kick
sure.
layer. Like
I mean,
you
I
have,
don't
like,
use any of these most of the time. Although I won't not use them. I'll use them quite often. Like, oh, I need just a little bit of a tick, a little bit more of a click, a little bit more of a hesh kind of like bit on the mids. Like there's plenty of shit you can just throw whatever you want in these two, which is nice. But yeah, it is this kind of a thing.
It's the algorithm. Like that's how I make kicks. I just do it within track layers in Ableton.
Right. Because like, yeah, I get my main pitch. I just like the interface on this because I've used it so much now that now I know if I do, some weird crazy thing, I know exactly like
Look at that.
why, because I'm trying to, because you can basically, if you fuck around in this kind of window enough, you figure out it's basically you can EQ the kick. So you can have the pitch drop and then back up and down to like skip the 100 bump. So the kick comes down and then the hundreds is kind of dipped and then it gets to the bop to the bump. As opposed
Is this
to
an amplitude? Are you in
no, it's
amplitude right
pitch.
now?
This is pitch.
This is in pitch.
Yeah. So you can
So
just
you
like,
somehow are navigating around it.
yeah, and it's kind of it's not
Such
not
a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Look at this
bro.
nerd, guys.
I will say that I'm not
Holy
like multiplying things. I'm not like, oh yes, the E2 over
It's 3,400 hertz divided by 6.
Yeah, no, there's none of that. It's more so just watching an EQ, watching a spectrum, and sitting here and toying around for hours while I'm stoned, And now I know it so well, I have a couple presets I drop in. I can start working from there. I basically have like 3 kick presets for house, a couple for like drum and bass, and a couple for halftime. And those get me 80% there every time, which is super nice. It only took 5 years of having this plug-in for me to like get those nailed down, but at least it happened.
You're there now.
Sometimes, folks, all you got to do is be patient.
Yeah, we didn't get a little
That's right.
bloop.
That's all you need.
But
Yeah, I don't know. 432 hertz. Hit the subscribe though.
Yeah.
So
Holy
fucking homie with the
smokes.
sub.
big sheesh for that.
Shout.
Thank you.
With the
First
tier
time on the
1.
pod, and you're just fucking throwing some gifts everywhere. Wow. Look at you go.
Vengeance Pack Days, 100% 432.
Dude, for real, right?
I was meaning to ask, were you from Pat's channel? I don't think he's asking us. Your name looks familiar. It's nice to see you again. I just thought I'd finish it anyways. Yeah, dude. I love Make It Kicks.
Love Pat.
Yeah.
Pat's channel's great.
Pat.
Yeah.
Shout out, Pat.
Pat
Shout out
Daddy.
Pat's channel.
Clip it. So I got a couple topics here if we want to segue.
Sure.
I'd love to
I
stop
wanna
talking
segue.
about Kick 2.
We could maybe go into more philosophical
actually.
elements.
Ooh. Do tell.
We were talking the other day about the antagonist protagonist like storytelling and how that can relate to your arrangement of your track. And I'll just kind of pass this after I explain it a little bit. Basically, your antagonist is the good guy, right? No.
Bad guy.
I have
Anti
no idea.
is bad. Yeah.
Well, it
Protagonist
could
is
be
pro-
either or. It's their journey within the story.
That's true, I guess. That's fair. Look at this book smart nerd over here.
I want to talk about it. Let's go.
So your protagonist or your main hero character is like the main theme, like the melody, or it could just be like the main wub that's in the drop, or the main riff, or the vocal line. It's the main thing that sticks with you through the song, and what will probably keep you coming back to a certain extent. But like the song won't feel complete without its opposite, which is in this case the antagonist, which again can be kind of a myriad of different things, including like the bridge or a breakdown, or maybe even it can fractal in and say the protagonist is this chunk of the verse, and then you have the break at the end of the 8 that does the switch around before it repeats. That is like the antagonist to that protagonist. You kind of need the yin and the yang throughout the arrangement of the track for it to kind of feel complete. What do you guys think?
Tag us in.
So I definitely agree. I think of it more of a micro scale than even that. I don't think of it as like a grand story of the song until towards the very end. How I think of it is very much in call and response between all levels of the song. So usually I do call and response like at each specific level. So let's say we do it with the melody. You have your call and response, and we can nerd out. I'd love to have like a push in front of me to show this in like a different podcast, but let's just keep it quick and simple. But I love like a good call and response, and I'll do that with the melody. I'll do that with everything, and that's kind of, it's not so much the story as opposed to like a little subsection, but
but it fractals. Like you have the call and response, and then that is within a call and response. And then
Exactly.
that is within a call and response.
That's when it gets good. That's when you can
right.
like scale up. When you start getting
Right.
like call and response in between like your drum sections, and then we're talking about like whole sections of a song. Let's talk about a
Right.
whole verse, for example, just
Right,
to keep it
32
interesting.
bars.
When you can get like a call and response in
Yeah.
between just like your melodic content, like your chord progression. A call and response is also interplaying with like the chords in terms of like a natural melody, and then that's also interplaying with the call and response that you can get within a drum rhythm. that's when you start getting the fucking story, man.
Dude,
and
the
like,
sauce.
dude, it's something I've honed in on over like the last year. And like, again, not that I'm fucking good at anything, but it's just something that like I pay attention to in everything. So I completely agree. I don't think of it as like the macro scale until the very end, but like the more that you can get like that call and response at every level, and the more that you can like play with those call and responses at like each
It's
individual level, and you learn to tether it in, it's like the songs almost tell you what they need.
Right,
Like
right.
they almost tell you
Yeah,
what they need, you know?
You just again have to be
Speak
honest.
to me.
You got to be like willing to be like, no, this is shit, or like, wait, this might just need a little thing, and then you just kind of be honest with it and let it write itself. You know, for sure.
Yeah. You got anything on it?
I don't relate to story lingo at all because I have just no idea what anybody is talking about when they talk about.
You never took
protagonist
creative
and-
writing, dude.
I definitely did, but like
It's
I
just gone.
didn't care probably.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
probably was just like breezing straight through that shit. But I do like the idea of a melody and then a counter thing that kind of brings you out of it in order to allow you to re-enjoy that thing again. Like, I'm trying to think of like a good example of something like that.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, where it's just like, I've heard your music, and just because like you don't necessarily tether it to a story, which again,
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
tether mine to like a Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm not writing that kind of music, you know what I mean? But
Oh,
like,
I am. I am writing Lord of the Rings.
oh yeah, dude,
music.
house music.
You
Next
know.
score, The Hobbit,
Rings
The
house.
Hobbit remix. So I think of a good way. How I
Unbelievable.
usually think of this is there's a good terminology in terms of like melodic development, especially. It's called PVRD, present, vary, repeat, destroy, and that's just like a good general template to like follow if you don't want to tether it to a story. So you present the melodic idea. Let's just say that's the first measure for easiness. So you present it. The next one you're doing the same thing. You vary it. So you might vary the next two notes, and then that tethers into the response where it's just. It might not be the response, and it depends how you.
Right.
But this
that
is just for like
the
simplicity
response.
of explaining it. You present, vary, you repeat, so that'll go back to what you presented, and that brings you back home. That brings you into the story. That brings you back to familiarity, and then destroy. You destroy that
best
shit.
part.
You go,
Destroy
Yes.
so like, I've learned that that's like a really. So if you don't necessarily want to tether it to a story, because it's just like, I don't think you should. Don't tether
No,
everything to like a
no.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Like, we're writing the next epic, because that's just a lot of pressure when you're writing. But like, if you think of it in like simplistic terms, present, vary, repeat, destroy. That's like a very good way to develop phrases within a song, and think of it
Right.
at like the measure level to begin with. But like, that tethers into everything with drums. So, it's just like start, present, the first two bar. Let's say we're working in halftime dubstep, so it's two measures. Present, so that'll be your first drum loop. The next one, vary. Let's vary like an individual
Yep,
component. Cool. That gets us to our fourth measure, starting the fifth. Then we'll go to repeat, brings us back to familiarity, and then we'll go to destroy, and that'll be our drum fill and drum turnaround back to like the same thing. And then you can get into present, vary, repeat, destroy amongst multiple phrases, and that's a very easy way to like storyboard like your whole song.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good pattern to use. Yeah, we've
Well
talked a bunch
said,
about
Vic. Let's
little
go.
patterns.
Dude, I think about it all the fucking time.
I see that. Yeah. Good Lord.
I like that too. I like a whole section is kind of fun where you do just like a very weird flip. I like dubstep for the reason where you're just like, oh, this is like Irish dancing music, and then it's like, okay, now we're in a build, and now it's just rhythm.
Right.
And you're like,
You can
wait,
get away
what
with
is
so
going
much for
on
some
with
reason.
this?
Right?
Yeah.
It does like the most extreme version of that,
Yeah.
but I like a more tasteful one, probably usually, but
Right.
it is fun.
So this is something that I would like to just like say, and like something that like stumped me for so long, where it's just like, I feel, again, I don't know like people's level that they're listening to it in this podcast, but it's just like something that
high level listeners in this podcast.
Yeah, so let's say it is high level people, and like you're just struggling to make things that resonate, where it's just like something like, I always strive to just be like so fucking good and like so original and everything. It's just like nobody fucking cares. Like the more you can get it to like a simple pattern, and the more you can get it like simplistic and like tether it back and scale back your ideas, I feel like the more availability it has to like resonate.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan. It goes back to the framework thing. Like, I love a framework. That's why I love that present, vary, repeat, and destroy. And that's why I love call and response and like thinking of that with every single phrase of the song, because it's just like when you give things a framework, you have boundaries within to work in, you know? So it's just, it makes things simpler. And then I feel like when you give boundaries, it's easier to like realize the frame. There's very few people that can go completely outside of the frame. Let's go like Tipper, G Jones, E-Prom, like these people that are like going fucking hard, you know, but like they learned the rules too, you know? Like,
yeah.
They learned the
Sure,
rules too.
sure.
Like, there's very simple G Jones songs. There's very simple Tipper songs. There's very simple like E-Prom songs, and like
Totally. Yeah.
anything. I just love a good framework. And so yeah, going back to that storytelling thing, present, vary, repeat, destroy, it's a good one. And then just focusing on call and response on the individual level is a great place for me to start, and it is where I started. And then like once you get that framework, like, dude, I see it in everything. I see it in like my day-to-day living now, you know? Like, I think like I see it with like how I set things up. It's just like once you learn it, once you learn the frameworks, then you can expand it to a greater scale. So I think start like very small, like a melodic level or drum level, and then scale it up. And that's when you get like your real novels.
Yeah.
Right, 100%. It's like walking the thin balance between pushing the envelope while keeping it like familiar and digestible.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a tiny little line you got to sit there and walk along.
Yeah, we
Well,
always
if you
talk about
Want it to
like
be dope.
you have to be better than everyone else.
Yep.
Because the question that comes into the chat all the time is like, hey, how do I blow up and blah, 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 blah. And it's like,
None of us have.
well, but the way to do it is, and yeah, that's true. The way to do it though is to like understand what people enjoy and also be very good at the things that you do and try and like find some kind of little spot in there, you know, that you can live with. And like for some of us, we might have higher standards than other people do as far as that goes. But like if you go to the art walk in your town and go and look at the shit people are trying to sell, you will be amazed at how bad it is.
It's the hard truth, folks.
You know, like they're often terrible, but
It's true.
people will buy that shit.
People buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
People
Also,
buy it.
there's not really that many people making shit. So you gotta, I mean, like aim at whatever level you want to. Personally, I would say give up your whole life and fucking like
It
Become a
takes
hermit.
a lot, man.
you want to like slit your wrists and like,
Dude,
no,
it-
I'm just kidding.
It takes a lot, and that's where it's just like, dude, if you think you're like getting it, it's just like, how much music are you making? Because I know how much I'm making, and like very few people are capable of dedicating that much time.
Yeah.
like
Right.
like
Yeah.
That's
Willing.
That's something to keep in mind. There's always somebody working hard.
like dude, 40
Yeah.
plus 40 plus hours a week, like
Always.
on top of a full-time job, on top of like
That's
not
right,
talking to
yeah.
everybody, like not going out. Like how much are you willing to try just
Yeah.
to like be terrible still? Like a good amount of
For
the
a very
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, but-
But then you finally get over that threshold, man. And it's a little bit easier.
Maybe.
Like,
you think you do,
bro.
and then you wait a year
Yeah.
and you're like, I wasn't over the threshold.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
true.
don't think I am now.
I think there's like multiple thresholds though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you can even see progress like every year that you're making music.
Well,
Like,
we
you
see
go
it with
back
the
and-
boys, right? Like you see, like boys, everybody like levels up together.
Oh,
But it goes
totally.
back to another thing too, where it's just like if you hold that shit like too high, where it's just like your art is not yours to judge. Like there's a lot of value in just like putting
There's
that
a point.
shit out there,
Yeah.
especially if it's well thought out and calculated and you worked hard on it.
Yeah.
Like I can't take that away from anybody. Like if you worked hard on that and you presented a deliverable and like it's like of quality, especially like mix wise and like it might not be like my shit, but like if you spent the time and you learned to like mix wise and everything, it's just like who gives a fuck if it doesn't bang the most? Like if
Yeah.
you like
Dude, for real.
like your
yeah.
art's not yours to judge, you know, because just like dude, I have plenty of songs that like I think are whack that like other people like I have plenty
Yeah.
of songs that like I think are fucking good that everybody hated, like honestly.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. LS
Kinda how
Dream
it
said
goes.
this great thing where he said he used to like be a hardcore like perfectionist. Like most artists typically tend to be. And he would like fine tune and tweak and like slave over tracks for like hundreds of hours. And he said at a certain point he kind of just realized like there's so much time wasted that he could have been like starting other ideas or like doing other things creatively.
Yeah.
And he said like now when he releases music, he gets the song to the point or to a point where he's just like proud of the track. He's like, you hear it, he presents it, and he's like, I'm proud of this. Like, I love it. Maybe there's flaws, maybe there's not. Maybe like someone thinks it's like the shit and it's absolutely perfect, but like I'm proud of it.
Right.
Nobody can say it's whack. Nobody can say you picked like the first fucking sample and put that out. Like nobody can say you didn't try.
Yeah.
Nobody
yeah, and I'm
like,
sure he still like
know.
puts his heart into it, you know. But
That's the thing. That's kind of like where I'm at. Cause like, I think that's how you should be at the beginning. You need to hold yourself to a high standard, but it's just like at a certain point, like once you guys know, once
You turn
put
a
the
corner.
hours in, it's just like it's
Right.
a thing where it's just like it's the real deal. I tried hard on this. There's 20 hours in this song, and like it's everything I got to the ability that I got. And like if you put it out and it's not that, like you're just lying to yourself.
yeah. Yeah,
right,
totally.
Right. It is good to be ruthless when
To
you're
yourself,
when you're
for
starting
sure.
out. You have to be honest as hell. You
For a
have to-
long time.
Yeah, you have to kill your babies. You have to make a track and spend like 4 weeks on it, and the whole 4 weeks you're stoked, and then just 1 second, one night, it just switches, and you're like, "Oh my god, I wasted 3 weeks. What is this track? What is this? What's happening?"
It's never a waste though.
no,
Yeah,
no, it
'cause you're
never
still
It
actually
learning.
feels
is.
like it was a waste.
It feels
6
like
months
it.
can be a waste. I think there is too long. I think there is an
Oh.
upper limit to how long you should
Okay,
work on a
there's
song.
diminishing
You're right.
returns.
You're right.
Yeah.
Never was not the right word. Never say never is.
You
Aaron.
want to know
Justin Bieber
something
says.
funny, dude? One time, like, I don't know if you guys get this. Like, dude, one time, like, I'm close to my family. Like, you know, I got a Mexican family. I'm close to my family. Like, I was talking to my mom one time, and I like, she's just like, let us show you songs. You never show songs. So, like, I showed her a song, and she's just like, don't you want people to like your music? I remember that.
Thanks,
I know. That's brutal.
Dude, I loved it though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where it's just like, yeah, it's fucking whack as shit.
Yeah.
I get it.
And different age gap there, you know, different frame of
Sure.
reference for what
Like,
music
dude,
is.
I
but-
would always remember. It's just like, don't you want people to like it?
yeah.
Oh boy, that shit hurts. That shit hurts.
That's how the story goes.
You can figure it out though. There's ways like at some point when you show people the music, they'll actually be like, "Yeah, this is sick." You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yup.
you'll get to a point where pretty much when you show people new music that you like and are proud of,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, "Yeah, this is dope."
And it
Yeah.
almost seems like,
And I'm not talking about like close friends,
yeah,
you know,
Right,
because they're
right.
full of shit.
some
Yup.
random third party.
They're full of shit.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a stranger of some sort.
Right.
You know,
Never met you.
acquaintance, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And preferably not showing them in your studio. Because
Right.
anything's going to sound good loud and in a cool looking
Especially
room.
in the studio it was made.
Yeah,
Mm.
It'll
well,
sound really
yes,
good in
for
there.
sure. But
And
also
with
like
the person,
the-
you're going to want to just instantly be kind of nicer.
yeah, the person is like, you got like LEDs and shit, and like this is like a spaceship, dude. This is cool. And then you're like, yeah, listen to this.
Could have realized like you're one of the only people with like LEDs in a studio that's probably gonna listen to this shit.
Right.
These guys have LEDs in
That's
their
true.
studio.
Definitely.
Let's go. Anyone who doesn't is basic.
Oh,
I'm
bass.
calling you guys out. Get some aesthetics going.
That's 2 S's in that.
Damn.
But yeah, like if you like to show them in the car or whatever, and they're like, oh, this is sick. Feels good. Feels good.
Yeah.
You know?
The
Yeah.
car's the best one, dude. The car's the best.
It's the most
hard.
honest. It's the
So
it's
hard.
so hard to pass.
The mid range is awful.
You know, and I love a song that like kind of holds up in a car.
Yes.
I'm a big ass fucking fan of like a car, like a song that like barely holds up in a car, where it's just like
Yeah.
barely scraping by. It's just like, you know what? I'll count it.
Sure.
I'll take it.
Right.
Dude,
Right.
I refuse to listen to my tracks in my car because it always just bums me out no matter what.
That's the only
like how
place.
good I
Oh.
think I get. Yeah. Because like my speakers are definitely not the greatest, and that can be a good thing, but it's
You
like
listen to other people's music in your car.
yeah.
The HS8s
And
are
does
weird.
it sound that bad in that for those songs too?
No, not really.
Again, your art is
Interesting.
not yours to judge. Your art is not yours to judge.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
your
know.
car speakers, to
Dude, it's
judge.
definitely my speakers, not me. I'm a fucking master.
But
at
also-
what I do.
I mean, I know you are.
Are you like really paying
But
attention
what am I?
when you're listening to like other people's music in your car?
And that's the thing, yeah. I think
You
I like
kinda have-
hyper fixate on the like, oh, they're like, because I know my car is like kind of more mid heavy, and like sub does not come through under like even like 110 hertz. It's just nothing.
right.
Damn, really?
Yeah,
Nothing?
Yeah, it's like even like kicks in the car.
It's like the opposite. Most people go to the car so they can get the bass.
He's
I know,
got
right? Yeah.
NS10s in his car.
Dude, I do the jankiest mixing thing. Dude, one time I sent you a track and like you guys have your what is it, Sonar Works, where you can do like the visual representation and like map out the songs. And you guys showed me like the EQ curve that it was applying. And again, it's like very mathematical. You know, it has like specific dips. But like, dude, I saw the EQ curve and like, dude, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but like on all the tracks that like I have now, like, bro, I just have a Pro Q3 on the master. It's just like that straight slant EQ,
Yeah.
-2 to -3, where it's just like, beep, like a straight line. Like it's not mathematical at all, bro. Like it just, I know my room's a little sub heavy, so like, dude.
Oh no, that's a good way to go.
Generic is flatline. I never tailor it like flatline. Like the only thing that I would tailor is like, it's between -1 or -3, you know, to get the slant up.
Right.
But like, dude, I love janky solutions. I'm a fan of that shit, bro. Like that's punk rock to me.
No,
Like,
that's it.
That's how you get the janky bangers.
It's
Yeah.
a really good point. Like, if you have a room, so here's the equation. If you're making music and you find yourself making dark music too much, like we're in your studio and it feels bright, and then you bring it into your car and it does not sound bright anymore. You put it in headphones and now it sounds dark when you compare it to other things. Just EQ on there with the shelf doing a little bit up on the sub and a little down on the highs, or whatever the purpose is. But like basically exaggerate what you think the issue is. So like boost your lows, bring your highs down on like a really smooth kind of like curve thing through the mids. The curve kind of hits the mids and then it goes for the highs. And then what you'll get is you're going to put less low end into things and you're going to put more high end into things
you need
because
for a crispy mix.
you have to add more highs to get the highs that you like tend to want out of something.
I find that it's hard to naturally like that sound too. Like, you know, that very polished like final mix sound. When
Yeah.
you're making music, it's like kind of hard to
It's
like
harsh.
that.
It's
Yeah.
harsh.
Super hard. So I found that, and then like, yeah, you guys showed me just like how I was reading, and I work in a pretty good room. You know, like I
Yeah,
have
you got a
weird,
decent little
I have
guy.
weird ceilings, I have panels, like I work in a pretty good room. It was just like maybe like a couple decibels too high on like that sub range, and like, dude, I just use the dumbest EQ on that master now, and like, dude, the mixes, again, it's not perfect, but the mixes hold up for sure.
Right.
Yeah, they hold up like they hold up.
I mean, from what I'm hearing, people love your mixes. So
Who are you sharing that from?
Hans, Hans told me.
Hans.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
Hans.
Mr.
Hans.
Mr. Zimmer.
Because I call him Hans now.
Yeah, dude, we've been on a first basis for a
I'm
long
basically
time.
vice president. on Zimmer now, so.
The amount of steaks I've cooked for that guy. Just like
Amount of
on a
steaks he's
whim.
cooked for you.
Dude, in bed.
Oh, little steak in bed.
And there's, you know,
Check out his new score.
Like-
You know.
he has a wife, but that's like we're buddies, you know?
No. You get in the middle. Everyone.
Buddies.
It's a little snuggle puddle.
No, he doesn't allow that, and that's okay. But we have our own little cabin, you know, where we go fishing, palling around.
Oh, as long as the wife doesn't see, she's cool with it.
No,
but-
she knows.
Yeah, she knows, but she doesn't want to see it. She doesn't want to see.
She
your-
may be watching.
Oh,
No.
closet dweller.
I'm not allowed to know. I don't know. All I
it's
know
a
is this
weird
went
thing.
on a weird path.
Yeah.
I don't
Here
even
we
know what
are.
we're talking about. I know that 432 has a very hilarious comment. I got virtual mix headphones with a car emulation. So my mixes bump.
Bump.
Let's go.
That seems ridiculous. What is this
That's
virtual
hilarious.
mix headphones?
Yeah.
What-
A hilarious idea. Like, I get my car mixed just
Okay.
right in my headphones, so it works out.
One thing I get the headspace of like not wanting to print like an educational mix to just go like check it out real quick. Like, oh, what happens if I just boost the 100s or 220s or whatever, and then just print it bring it into the car. What does it sound like? Is it hitting in a different way or whatever? But really, what are you asking? A minute and a half, 2 minutes of time to like print it,
Totally.
email it to yourself, and like go take it to the car.
Yeah, that's a great way to go. Master your own track. Give it a
Just-
little bit of a dip in the low end. Bring the highs up.
Yeah, do these little tests
Or
back
whatever.
and forth. It's worth it.
Yeah, throw a limiter right after it. Push it
Right.
just like slightly into the limiter, and see if it seems like it's louder all of a sudden in your car.
This is a big old tangent, dude. I saw somebody do some cool shit with not even limiting on like masters anymore. There's a new technique in Ableton, and it requires good gain staging, and I haven't tested it out, so I can't speak on it, but it's super interesting. So instead of even like going into a limiter, Ableton, because it uses a floating point scale, which again, I haven't wrapped my head around fully on what it means, but you know how a speaker can't recreate obviously a perfect like square wave, right? Like it can't just go from completely
Right.
Just like a
in
little bit of
to
curve.
out. So, dude, I've seen people, and I've heard some songs that people are making where they're just pushing the master into clipping on Ableton, and because of that, it's getting a super nice like clipping, and just naturally, it's like limiting the songs. Where like I've been hearing some masters lately, they're hitting it like -2, -1 LUFS, and they're fucking like the cleanest masters with like the nicest like
Wild.
spatial like stereo information that I've heard, and so fucking loud, and it's just going into like the natural clipper on the channel
You heard it here, guys.
on the master
Just,
of Ableton.
Yeah.
Dude, it's super
Smash right into your digital zero.
Ceiling.
nuts. Will be
Call it good.
Ableton won't. It doesn't square it off. It doesn't turn into a square. It does because a limiter. What it does is essentially it's turning it into a square in the same way. Where this one's not restricting. It's not turning it down. It's doing the same thing essentially to the waveform. Where again, it can't create a perfect square. So nothing's gonna like completely square off. You know. I guess you can get there, but like. I've just been seeing some cool shit where like you push it in, and like if you're clipping it, it turns it into a real nice natural limiting because it kind of rounds it off at the
Sure,
edges, you
sure.
know, like right at the tips,
Yeah.
Just
and then it comes back down. And like, dude, I've been hearing some
That's-
loud masters lately. I've been hearing some like super sick ones.
Yeah, -2 is up there.
that's
Dude,
that's
God,
like,
been
pushing
fuck.
shit, dude.
And dude, like stereo information still intact.
Wow.
It requires a very specific like gain structure though. Like, you
Oh,
know,
I'm sure.
the gain structure that there's a couple different ways to get there. The gain structure that's like most common is like drum, like kick and snare. Again, this isn't universal. Like kick and snare, -6. Everything else mixed to like -12, -15, -18, like increments in terms of like bass and everything. But pushing that and just to like the master channel on Ableton, and then just like allowing the natural like clipping, natural limiting on that. You're not getting any degradation on sound, and like they're just like the loudest songs I've ever fucking heard. They're so sick.
That's so
That's,
sick. So fuck limiters, guys.
damn.
Never
I don't
use
know
one
about
again.
that.
You
It's-
don't need them.
We'll have to talk about this
Experiment
in greater
at your
detail.
own risk, everybody.
Yeah.
Again, don't.
This is
isn't
gonna be
a
sketchy
novice
for you,
trick.
I
It's not a
promise.
novice trick. Like, but there's
It
some
is
cool
not a
things you
novice
can.
trick.
There's some cool things you can do with clipping into the master, and then also just other clippers. Like there is
Well,
good
yeah.
clippers.
Oh, yeah.
you
I
know?
definitely clip the master.
We've talked about clipping on
Yeah.
the show
At-
all the
yeah.
time.
All-
Yeah, Barely Alive does that in like virtual, right?
We
They're
clip
all about the
everything.
fucking
So-
clip the master kind of shit for sure.
So that was the big argument. Well, one,
It's also not clipping. Like
Dan Worrell
it's rounding off.
has already won the loudness war. He made a track at +2.
yeah,
So go
sick
listen
fuck.
to that. Yeah.
I didn't even know that was
Big
possible.
ups Dan Worrell for the +2 LUFS.
God, the new age loudness war begins. Who can get the highest positive?
Yeah, and he's older than all of us. On the second note, that was the big argument for FL Studio for the longest time, is because the master would soft clip in a really nice, unique digital way, and that's what a lot of hip hop producers liked. They liked just clipping it straight into the master, and that's why a lot of people like
It has
FL
a limiter
Studio.
on the master built in.
Right, but and because of that, it clips in its like
FL
own
Studio does.
own little
okay,
way.
okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
you saying that about Ableton doesn't really surprise me. It was only a matter of time until people figured out how to digitally soft clip.
It's
Soft
still
clip with
clipping.
Soft.
It's
it
totally
it
is clipping.
but it's
Like
It's soft clipping though. It's
what's-
rounded edges. It's not
what's
like
the
It's
algorithm?
digital clipping.
It's
Right.
not sawed off. It's
Not all
It
clipping
might be
sawed off,
rounded.
but it's
Yeah.
still clipping.
Not
Soft
all
clipping's clipping.
Yeah,
you're
soft
right.
clipping is still clipping.
I won't disagree on that. You're right.
But it is different. It's like unique in the fact that it's like we don't know what the algorithm is. We don't know what the like threshold or dependencies of the clipper are at all. Like at what input level does it start?
That's
soft
where,
clipping,
dude. It's
like-
not scientific. It's not like you can just be
Right,
like, ooh, if you
right.
hit it at like +8, it's like a very good. Because the biggest thing on that is feeding into it is a good mix, which is like harder than like getting
which is
a
why
master, like
which
Yeah.
is why it's not really
All
a
day
novice
long.
trick.
Yeah.
Like you can push a terrible mix into it and you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
it
exactly.
takes a
This
while
is not
before
going to
you can-
fix your mix. It's
No.
just
This
a
is not
little detail to get a little more.
It was very just. It was more just interesting.
Yeah.
And like they're fucking loud and the stereo information. Dude, I've heard like multiple songs mixed like going through a limiter. Especially, dude, people hit limiters hard these days, and I don't necessarily always like limiters just because like
I don't also need my tracks to be that fucking loud.
that's another thing. I
Right.
don't mix super loud to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm not
Don't
like
care.
I don't hang out around -3. Like once we get like above like -9, like I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah.
right?
Once we get-
Not hanging out at -3 at all.
Yeah,
No.
it's-
Yeah,
we're not
like-
trying to win the loudness
If
war
Not
over
even
here.
trying.
If I hit -6,
I'm
I'm just saying
like,
this one,
oh,
it
let
had
me
its-
back it up.
Yeah.
it had its stereo information intact and it wasn't degrading the mix and it was honestly doing less to the quality of audio than sending it through a master channel. So like I was kind of a fan of the thought. Again,
Yeah.
just something
Yeah,
that
yeah.
like sparked it. It was
No, I'd
doing
love
like-
to listen
you're
to
sending,
whatever
yeah,
it was.
You're sending it through like
It does
less
sound
effects
good.
processing than actually sending it through a limiter.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just allowing it to like naturally clip within like the parameters of the DAW, which was neat.
Yeah.
It was just fucking cool and loud as shit and like stereo intact and like sound information intact and it's neat as fuck.
100%, dude.
Sick.
400%.
400%.
You know why?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Brings us to the end of the episode.
Is it already
Damn.
that time?
I know.
They always go too quick.
That
my
goes
friends.
so quick.
Sorry, but
That's what happens when you're dropping wisdom bombs on us, Vic.
the big guys upstairs, you know, they control everything, so
Yep.
it is the end.
Yeah, we got to, you know.
Can I blast a couple of things?
Of
Yeah,
course
go
you
for it.
can.
Okay, guys. So I've been kind of on hiatus. There was definitely like a name transition. Any Heights, that is for sure what the name I'm gonna be using moving forward. It's gonna be NE, the letters NE Heights Music. That's on SoundCloud and Instagram. Again, we got the opening track on a new cipher coming out, which is called Metamorphosis on Illgate's Producer Dojo's label on SoundCloud.
go,
that
dude.
should be getting released any
That
minute.
is a big step, my man.
Um,
Proud of you.
dude, and again, let's go. Like
Let's go.
hit me up on SoundCloud. All this shit, like, bro, I'm in the gutters with
Hell
everybody.
yeah.
Like, let's
we,
get it.
we're out here, dude.
We out here. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Almost
those
400.
that you tuned in, thank you for tuning in. We like absolutely adore that and appreciate that very
Yeah.
much.
Akit,
If
sorry
you're
we still
listening-
can't pronounce your name. You're the shit. I'm glad you made it, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
432
if you're on
hertz with the sub.
YouTube or a podcast channel, Spotify, whatever, we're on Twitch every Tuesday. We're always fucking here.
Yep. yep. You can-
Always400.com, baby.
yeah. Everything is there. Just go to always400.com. You'll find the YouTube, the Discord,
All the connects are
the
yep,
Instagram.
ready to rock.
Yeah, everything. And all
Yep.
the releases and, you know, maybe some other things. Coming soon, TM.
Fuck yeah, everybody.
Because we like to keep
Bye,
it real here.
everybody.
We love you guys, and we'll see you next week. 7:30 p.m. Mountain fucking Standard Time, bro.